Broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network. The bandwidth for this episode of This Week in Guns is sponsored by Patriot Patch Company. PatriotPatch.co.
Welcome to This Week in Guns. This show is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network and Patriot Patch Company.
And I'm your host, Kenny Ortega. Sean is out this week. He had an emergency he had to take care of, so I am filling in once again. But just want to thank you guys for joining us and remind you, don't forget to visit our sponsors, Patriot Patch Co. and Manticore Arms. So with us this week, we have returning once again, we have Jara Hutchins, pistol instructor, gun range consultant, board member, Women's Campus Carry Advocacy Program Empowered, and in the tub now. Last time it was no pants. Now she's sipping bourbon in a tub. I mean, what's going on with this lady? Jara, what are you up to?
I like to talk about guns on my terms.
And these are definitely your terms.
Yes.
Nice. All right. And back with us once again, we've got the Joshes. Josh Courtney, Josh Hutchinson, founder of Black Diamond Guns and Gear, YouTube and Facebook live stream, who also run Black Diamond Holsters. Guys, how's it going?
Doing pretty good.
Doing good, man. How are you?
Oh, doing good. Thanks for asking. Great to have you guys back. Looking forward to some fun.
Yeah. We're just glad to see your hairs, kind of went missing.
I disagree wholeheartedly and with gusto.
Well, it was chopped off with gusto.
Went for a good cause, right?
We're going to talk about this later. We're going to address this issue later. You know, you have it coming.
Yeah, undoubtedly. But you know what? It was for Hawks Locks for Kids, one of our sister shows. They've done it a few times. I heard that they had done it. I decided to go ahead and take the plunge and do the same. So I grew it out so I can help a child in need.
I know this guy who literally just does that all the time. He grows his hair out completely just to give it to Locks of Love or something like that. I can't remember the name of the thing. I think it's Locks of Love. But he's an older guy, but he has great hair, just awesome hair. And so he does it all the time. He grows it all the way completely out, past his shoulders, and he just cuts it off.
Oh, that's awesome.
Great hair. Great hair. It was a travesty to cut it. You should grow it back out and continue this tradition.
I wish I could grow more hair.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. We'll see how it goes. So let's get right into it. Looks like we've got the interstate handgun sale ban may be headed to the Supreme Court. Basically, because of an appellate court ruling, it looks like the Supreme Court may be taking up this issue, and interstate sale of handguns may be legal. If you travel to another state, you may be able to buy one. Jared, what do you think?
Hot dog. I'm excited about it. I really am. Reading the article, though, I got to tell you, it gave me mush brain. It irritates me how the government just tries to convolute things and complicate things. You can take your guns here, but you can't take them there. And, what if you're driving across state lines from one state to get to another state, and the state in the middle says you can't have guns? I mean, this is just the dumbest thing ever. The rules need to be universal. We're the United States. Okay. So if you have the ability to have a permit in one state, you should have the ability to have a permit in all states. And I think it's just ridiculous how people get to just kind of pick and choose, what they want to do from state to state. I don't agree with it at all, but I hope it works out in our favor. I mean, it's hard to tell at this point, but I'm glad that it's going up to the top.
Oh, no doubt. Go ahead, Joshus.
I think that we were on a show. I can't remember which one it was, but we were talking about the reciprocity. Yes, the reciprocity, and it was basically we were saying that, or I was saying that I didn't necessarily approve of it because of basically I didn't want them to take it away from the state's right to give you, your concealed carry permit. But then we would start talking about it, and I think we'd actually change our mind as long as it would be like an extra.
As long as they could keep it at the state level and at the federal level.
So you could have one that you would do for the complete United States reciprocity thing, and then you also got to keep your state one, because if at one point the whole thing would just be taken away with a swipe of a pen or something like that.
Right.
I didn't want that to happen. So other than that, I kind of
I can see that. I'm on the line.
I don't really know how that works, but as far as you were talking about, go ahead.
Yeah, from state to state. I mean, I see that I go on vacation a lot, and one of my big things on going on vacation is going to gun stores. I hate to say that. I go to gun stores. I go to gun stores every day if I could. You may find something when you're vacationing in Florida where you're like, oh man, you know, like you were saying earlier, SIG P210. Oh man, I found a SIG P210 for $399.
Yeah.
Why would you pass that up? Oh,
Right.
well, then you buy it in Florida. You have to have it shipped to your FFL in Kentucky or wherever.
Yeah.
And then your Kentucky FFL is like, oh, if that's not a in-stock item, I'm going to charge you $125, $150 because that's taking money out of my pocket.
Right.
Why should you have to do that when it should be legal United States wide? As long as you're legal to own a handgun,
you're legal to own it, there's no problem.
Why should you not be able to buy one?
But your point is that you don't want to just give it to the federal level in case they decide to take it away. You want the states to have some ability to say, okay, if the federal government loses their mind, here in the great state of Texas, you can still have guns.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, okay.
So if you could do one and the other and keep it both at state and federal, that'd be okay.
I hear you.
Well, why don't we just go back pre-68 when you just mail order them, have them shipped straight to your house with no paperwork?
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Down.
Is that a possibility?
Yeah. Obviously, you can't 3D print them, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, with a revolt we can.
Yeah. True that.
You know,
I just say we melt all of California's straws and make our own 3D printed guns.
Yeah.
we'll get them quick because they're going to be gone soon. So, all right, next story. So, looks like we have a 68-year-old woman who got home. She found some guy in her storage building, and he lunged at her in an aggressive manner. So she shot him 5 times at a 22, and indeed, good on her. Yeah. My only thoughts are that none of his injuries were life-threatening, but still, he got ventilated. So, hey, good for her. So,
I would
Josh,
like to tell everybody to at least carry a 380. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the smallest caliber I would carry.
Well, hold on now. I'm going to disagree with that for one very important reason. So in Texas, where are you guys at?
Tennessee.
Okay. So in Texas, when the legislature met last, it used to not be legal for you to qualify. You could carry a 22, but when you took your LTC shooting proficiency, you couldn't qualify with a 22. And the reason that I did not like that was because of elderly folks like this woman.
Yeah.
Okay. And I teach intro to handgun. I teach a lot of women. And although the 22 caliber is not ideal, in some rare cases, it is ideal for older women, for people who are arthritic. I mean, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And so I have to just disagree with that for a little bit. Now, if you're capable and you're taking an LTC class from me and you're qualifying with anything less than a 380, I'm going to make fun of you.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you cry. But you know, but I really felt like it needed to be fair across the board, because I really felt like elderly people and people with disabilities too were being unfairly left out or unfairly, you know, some sort of discriminated against when it came to that. So I'm slow clapping her for the 22 because she probably had what she could handle.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was clapping, man. I'm glad that she was actually carrying something to defend herself with. Most people wouldn't, or you know, or people are afraid to, or whatever. At least she had something to freaking do something with it.
I agree.
see, now I wanted to go ahead and take Jared's class with the 22.
Yeah,
I'll make fun of you. There was a guy that took our NRA pistol instructor class, and he was so worried about the shooting proficiency for the pistol instructor class, even though you had 3 tries to do it, that he did it with a 22, and we made fun of him forever.
So talking about the 380 thing, so the Smith & Wesson came out with the Easy 380, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's supposed to be so people can,
People with disabilities,
rack it back with disabilities and stuff like that, because it's literally, you can do it with one finger, and it feels like a 22.
Well, but can't you change out the spring in the slide too?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And make it have less stank on it.
Yeah, the one that I felt was completely stock, and it felt literally like a 22. I mean, you can do it with a finger.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to get around it.
Yeah. But she might not have been able to, you were saying earlier, she might not be able to handle the recoil of a 380. She might have been only able to handle the recoil of a 22.
I think what's more important than that is that she had the wherewithal and the situational awareness to keep it on her person.
Yep.
In order, I don't know if she had a suspicion or if she just walked into, it was a storage unit on her property, right?
She knew that somebody was out there. So,
and if it's on a large property, like if it's like one of those like 10 garages or something, like I wouldn't go in there without a gun, but my thought would be an animal.
Yeah, right.
That could have found its way in there, or whatever. But it never would have occurred to me because my grandparents had large properties and they had garages and barns and stuff all over the place.
People wouldn't even have the situational awareness to even realize that anything was going on.
Yeah, or to even think to have something on their person out there. And she did, and clearly found someone in there, reacted to that. They lunged at her and she took action. And man, that takes guts, and it takes awareness, and it takes, a little bit of training. And I think that if people would realize that and people would just do it, just take the time out to do it, get off Facebook for a little while, quit playing Fortnite or whatever the hell. Okay. And concentrate 2 hours of your week.
I think we should all do a slow clap right now.
Gun training or Pokemon or whatever the hell the kids are doing these days, and get some good gun training or some good situational awareness training. And I think, man, it would really change the entire scope. And I think it would flip a lot of people's, preconceived notions about guns on their axis.
I grew up in New York, and there was actually a mafia hitman who had his pistol that he called the Belly Buster. And what it was a 22 revolver with the barrel cut off. And he would basically just walk up to them and just firing out of the cylinder with no rifling, put it in their gut and empty the cylinder into their belly. Dang. And he has killed numerous people using that. Years ago, there was a stat that more people were killed by 22s than anything else. So don't discount a 22. If it's like anything else, if you put it in the right spot, it's going to do its job and it's going to put them down.
I did see one where an officer actually got hit in the shoulder by somebody that he was actually, in a gunfight with or whatever. And it actually hit him in the shoulder and actually, went around.
22s will bounce around.
Yeah. I heard it.
And listen, this belly buster thing, I'm not condoning it, but I'm also not saying that.
I mean, if I'm going to set a 22 here and I'm going to set a 9mm here, and I'm going to ask you which one you're going to get shot with, which one would you rather get shot with?
Anybody would say the 20.
Either. You don't want to get shot with either of them.
But you didn't offer that as an option.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You didn't say, or option C, neither. You don't get to just have it. You don't get to just have a hidden answer somewhere and then get to claim that you're all freaking funny.
Yeah, Josh.
See, I didn't have a chance to answer. My answer was going to be the Nike defense. I'm just running.
Just jetting, man.
No doubt. All right, moving on. So guns.com looks like we got the recovery of guns that have been lost or stolen from licensed dealers was up 13% in 2017. So I wonder if this is a result of improved enforcement or if just luck or who knows what's going on. But I mean, 13% is pretty significant when you're looking at various crimes that were committed with thefts and lost property that it has been recovered. What do you think, Jara?
Well, first of all, this is the ATF bragging on some stats, so we can all agree that it's probably bullshit. The understaffed ATF is bragging about stats.
The last time I talked about the ATF on here, it was about a guy who was taking pictures of girls underneath the stalls. It was the ATF agent. So they need to get it together.
Yeah.
You believe them?
Why do we even have an ATF?
I agree with that 100%.
I mean, I'm glad if those stats are real, and I hope that they are real because I'm not condoning the stealing of firearms at all, but I'm going to go ahead and say that there's a little bit of reasonable doubt in my mind as to the validity of these numbers. Although what I will say is that the article pointed out that this could be the result of FFL's gun dealers, participating better in the process, which I am an advocate for. There has to be a process, and we have to adhere to the process, and I understand that. But man, I just really, the ATF is just useless to me.
Are they wanting people to like? What are they? Why are they bragging about this? Like, what does it do for them?
Well, because they're holding up their iron fist and saying, if you steal shit, we're going to come get it back.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, don't do that because we're going to find you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think also.
I mean, I hope so. That's your job. Okay. I mean,
but how many times have we had stories on here about FFLs that have had guns go missing? They're not putting serial numbers on them correctly. They're moving stuff around. That
how many smash and grabs do you see on TV all the time, or smash and grabs and all that stuff? Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just not. I don't think it's feasible.
Yeah, those definitely happen, but also there are a lot of situations where FFLs just aren't doing the job right. So
True.
I think the fact that we're getting a lot of these recovered is a plus to where if FFLs are going ahead and working more closely with ATF to make sure that these things are getting recovered, getting them back on the books and off the streets where obviously the anti-gunners want to find them so that they could go ahead and use those against us. I think this is a feather in our cap that we're doing something that is working, that is giving some, provable results.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're looking for the silver lining in the cloud.
You're looking for the good in it. Oh, we get it. Yeah.
Good job, Kenny.
Oh, well, thank you. I still think the
Way to bring us back down to reality.
Alcohol, tobacco, chips, and dip should still go away, but at least something good is being done out there.
Sounds like a general store, not a fire. Yeah.
Can we get fish and bait there too?
Only in certain parts of the country. So, all right, next story. So Gearhead Works, they created a 300 Blackout pistol from a Remington Model 7 using a MDT chassis, which I got to see this at NRA. It was really cool. They created a folding stock on it, and with that, the thing was super small, could easily fit in a backpack. And if for a bug out bag, if you're out and riots break out, some sort of civil unrest, and you need to get back home, you need something that'll get you there to really compact and get the job done. I think this is a great little gun, and it looks like they're actually going to start producing it because it was a one-off at NRA, but a really neat gun. Jared, what do you think?
Okay, I thought this thing looked so freaking dope, and I want one really bad. But listen, apparently in this article, the guy that kind of invented this or kind of came up with the concept, he does this all the time. Like, he just kind of like chills out in his garage and works on these new concepts. And I'm going to kind of divert a little bit and go, man, are we really worried about 3D printable guns when this dude is just sitting in his garage planking on, 300 Blackout pistols? I mean, I'm intrigued by this. I'm like, I think this gun is dope. I want one. I love this. But are we really worried about some pansy-ass plastic 3D guns when this dude can come up with this shit in his garage?
We're not there yet. You're jumping ahead.
Sorry. I'm just excited about it. Man, what the hell? But I want one, like, now. I don't want to wait till later. Send me one now. I'm in the bathtub. Send me one.
Yeah, that with a can on it.
I'm in the bathtub drinking bourbon. Send me two.
Guns and alcohol don't mix there.
So in the article, it said that it is bolt action, right?
It is. Yep.
So you're looking at a bolt action 300 Blackout AR pistol type variant. That's awesome. I mean, that's great. I see the thing where he said he wanted to run a can on it and stuff like that. So you don't have any of the blast coming out the bolt. You have a bolt action 308.
That's what I want to do. I want a can on it.
Right. So, I mean, it's going to be quiet. It's going to be stupid quiet. And that's awesome. But, I mean, at $2,000, why not get you a,
Yeah.
Child, it's only money. Okay. Let's just take that piece of it and just put it in a box and bury that shit. Okay. We want this dope piece of machinery.
Yeah, you can always make more money.
True.
I'm just saying.
I could build like 5 guns for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, well then build me that.
Well, I didn't say we could build
Move
that.
to Tennessee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go.
I'll come pick it up in Tennessee.
I'm just saying, like,
what about that interstate transfer?
Oh. Yeah. I'm just saying with the AR stuff like that, you can totally build like 6 of those for that. that kind of money rather than having a single shot.
Okay, well, build yourself one.
It is cool.
Build yourself one and then build me one. Quit rapping about it. Somebody did something cool in their garage and they're selling it to make a profit. What's the problem?
I do that. That's what I do with my holsters.
That's what you do. So let's not knock him for it, okay?
Yep.
True.
Yeah, but you can't make an AR that's going to be as small as this thing and have the same effectiveness. It's just something that you can easily put in a backpack that no one will know what it is, and have the ability to get yourself home. And just think of the psychological impact if there is unrest and people are getting taken out and they have no idea where it's coming from because they can't hear a thing, but somebody's head just became a fine red mist.
True. What about the Ruger PCCs though? You can break that down in half, throw it in your backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Or you can take
But he's also talking about it. This is 300 Blackout. Yeah. You're reaching 300 yard.
Yeah.
Targets if you needed to.
Yeah.
Versus 9mm being effective range of depending on whatever ammo you're using.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has a very specific purpose, but for that purpose, I think it's an amazing option.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can agree with that. Yes.
I think it's cool, man. I do. I mean, I don't want to spend $2,000 on it.
Understood. So, all right. So that's going to wrap it up for our positive news. Moving on, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Looks like we had a Colorado man who killed a home invader, broke into his house. The guy, it was a home invasion robbery type situation, and police just happened to be in the area. They heard shots fired. Next thing you know, they ended up killing the homeowner.
See, I didn't know that they were in the area. I didn't know if he had, because it didn't really say, or at least I didn't see it, I didn't see it if he called them, they were there, and then he, shot the guy or whatever. But that's just straight up that's like the worst nightmare possible. I mean, as far as self-defense, all I can think about is them coming in and being like, put down the gun, and you just dropping it, and getting down and doing whatever, because that's what you would do on a normal basis. But I mean, all I can imagine is that this guy busted in the door, saw a gun, and just shot him. I mean, without saying anything to him. And I know that they have a split second, and I back the police 100%, but I know they have a split second to decide. But man, that's just completely unlucky and
totally unlucky. Awfully
may have gone, I don't know. Maybe the guy could have said, stop, put the gun down or something.
Right.
Give him a chance to do something.
It could have been dark.
Yeah, it could have been dark. Yeah.
I mean, here's this guy. He just shot an intruder, and he's probably still holding his pistol. He's probably making sure that this guy isn't going to get back up and come at him.
Yeah.
Which is what he's supposed to be doing.
Right. Exactly. So then there's these police officers that bust through the door, not knowing, hey, they probably have lights. It may have been dark. You never know it. We could what if it all day long, but he's still got his firearm drawn. Did they say put the firearm down? For all he knows, it could have been another home invader, and then he just gets shot.
Like I said,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a completely unlucky circumstance.
Right.
Sucks for the guy. Like I said, completely worst nightmare possible for a self-defense.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of details here.
Has to live with that too, and he's not enjoying that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as he's not a D-bag, I mean, he's feeling the pain of that and dealing with it, and probably drinking heavily and having thoughts of killing himself for what he did. I was a cop for 7 years. I know what people go through when they end up having to shoot someone, especially if it's a bad shoot. Those things just haunt you. People don't realize it. You've got some guys who aspire to be big city gunfighters who all they want to do is go out there and, kick butt, take names, and they get into a shoot and they're hooping and hollering. But even those guys face their issues. There are certain demons that they have to deal with in those situations that most people will never understand. They'll never have an inkling as to what they go through, and they end up drinking a ton usually to put that pain down that they're facing.
Medicate.
Yeah, pretty much. And a lot of them will end up eating their own gun because they just can't put up with it, even though they try to act like they were tough and it was all cool. And next thing you know, they're just a statistic, just like the person they shot.
Yep.
So it's a shame. I mean, it's unfortunate. I don't know what the details were. It just seems like police happened to be there, and they just happened to walk in. It's just bad timing all the way around.
Maybe it was a bad neighborhood, and they were just there. I mean, where was it at? Aurora,
Colorado. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Colorado at all, so I couldn't say.
Yeah, I don't know the area like at all.
Accidents happen. And it's super unfortunate, and it's a huge travesty. And I've said this on shows in the past that often when we're trying to defend our liberties, we often are doing it in the midst of someone else's incredible pain. I think that this is a small example of that, of a human making what they thought was the right decision, and then it ultimately ended up being the wrong decision. But I can tell you that if I were the person that owned the home that shot the intruder that got shot by the cop, man, I wouldn't be, I know I'd be dead, but I wouldn't be calling for his head, or I wouldn't be calling for the banning of guns, or I wouldn't be saying police brutality. It's just a thing that happens, and it sucks because you don't want the person that you love, your husband, your father, your brother, your son, whatever, that their death to be chalked up to an accident. I get that, and you want somebody to pay for that. But man, sometimes these things just happen, and it's unfortunate and it's unlucky, and it doesn't help with the grieving process when you have to chalk it up to that. But it's just the truth. It's just the truth.
The police was in there. He was in there doing his job.
He was doing his job, and
he ran toward it.
And he made a human decision. And man, it's sometimes logic, unfortunately, has to trump emotion. And this is just one of those times.
And especially them. They fight every day to be able to go home. You know, they're only human like we are. They probably have kids, probably have spouses.
There's no way.
And at the end of the day, they want to go home just like you do. So, if they see something that may be immediate danger, yes, I think that I would. I think I would turn around and probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
Whether it be right or wrong, a split second could end your life.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. They were responding to a homicide. There was a homicide that occurred.
Right.
They don't know the details, and unfortunately, by the time they got the details, it was too late. Homeowner, who was a good guy in this situation, ended up getting killed.
Right.
Sad story. Unfortunate, but it's just things happen. You can't be 100% perfect when you only have a fraction of a second to make a choice. So,
next story. This is depressing me.
All right. So it looks like in Florida there was a guy who, or pardon me, not in Florida, but in Kansas, tried to use stand your ground defense, and he's being charged.
Man,
what an idiot! This guy was stupid.
I don't know. It kind of didn't work for him because I think, in my opinion, I think it was, by what I read in the story, it seemed legit. It seemed like the guy had his two kids with him, went out for ice cream, whatever, came back, saw somebody was in a parking space. Wasn't even like fighting him for the parking space. It was literally just like, hey, they don't know how he asked him. He could just be like, move, bitch, but nobody knows. So, but I'm imagining by the way it was, laid out there, that he was just like, hey, can you, shut the door so I can get in here? And then what they say is that she turned around and started, saying racial slurs at him and stuff like that. I don't know if the guy's white or black. I don't know if she's white or black, but she turned around and started yelling at him, whatever. And then he was like, okay, we're going to go to the next spot. So he pulls out, goes to the other parking space, and apparently they fall in there and they start fighting there in the parking lot. Then he gets away from that, goes up to the apartment to take his kids up there, and they follow him up there to fight with him again, like physically fighting, not just arguing. And so what does he do? He pulls out a knife just to protect himself, just to be like, maybe if I pull this out, these bitches will leave me alone. But guess what? They don't. He ends up stabbing somebody, and it actually doesn't work for him in his favor, and I think it's bullshit.
My mind has changed. I didn't read the story. All I saw was the headline, and a dude stabs two chicks, and I was like, what the hell for?
I thought the same thing. When I first read it, I was like, there's no way.
This is how the media lies to you.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That is. It's a perfect example right here on this show. This is a perfect example of how the media will put a headline out there that will make you think something that's not true. Mine changed.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The only thing I think, he could have probably waited on his glasses. He went back to get his glasses because he had forgot them with the heat of the moment and everything else. And that's where it escalated. But once he started pushing him down the stairs, going down a flight of stairs is, in my opinion, deadly force.
Yep.
So I don't see how they're not seeing the stand your ground law on this. I think it's just because they were females, but a female is just as deadly as a male.
Well, there was 3 of them. It wasn't 1; it was 3.
Right, and that's where I was going next. I mean, it's not just the fact that there was one female that was killed. There were 3, so you have a disparity of force situation, and just because someone is a female is just as deadly as a male. Once they get riled up, and typically a woman that is passionate about something will put a world of hurt on you. And men will try to, yes, okay, I won't say anything, Jared. Men will try to typically go ahead and tone it down a bit and not fight them as hard, and they end up getting hurt. This happens to police officers all the time, where they end up fighting with a female suspect, and they try to take it easy on them, and in the process of trying to take it easy, they end up injured because they weren't taking care of the situation the way it needed to be taken care of.
Did the article say anything about whether these women were on drugs?
It did not, that I recall.
I didn't see anything like no.
Because that could have been a huge factor. You know, if they were on drugs and they didn't feel pain.
Yeah.
And they kept, I mean, to me, you either have to be really stupid or under the influence of something to keep going after somebody like that.
Now, when they fell down the stairs, did he stab her as he was falling, or what? Did he stab her first? I can't remember how that worked out.
Yeah, that wasn't clear from.
I don't think it. Well, I didn't read. Again, I didn't read them. I don't know.
Yeah, I read it almost a week ago, so I don't remember all the details. But I don't know if they were on drugs, but one of them is definitely on embalming fluid now.
You with your jokes, I love it.
All right, so moving on, we got kind of a scary situation actually. So the ATF has, going back to these guys.
These guys.
Yeah, these guys and gals, I guess. There are some gals there, but this one is a little bit frightening. There's some bolt action AR-15 uppers that are 50 caliber. You bolt them onto a standard AR lower, and they're now classifying those as a firearm in and of themselves. So now you have a lower that is a firearm and an upper that's a firearm. That's a bit unprecedented. I've never seen any other firearm that is that way, where it's got 2 serialized parts that are considered firearms. What do you think, Jared?
Y'all talk first, because I need more education on this.
All right, go ahead, Josh.
Okay, so the way that I read it is like your Remington rifles, your Winchester rifles, and stuff like that is your actual. It's the receiver is your actioned receiver. Your bolt and your receiver is actually a serialized number. So I think that's how ATF is looking at it. As this is basically a bolt action rifle. You just basically put a stock on it where the lower is considered the stock, because most of your 50 cal BMG direct fit uppers like that, you can't slap a magazine in the lower. You can't slap, a 50 BMG is not going to fit in an AR-15 lower. Right. So they're saying that the actual action of this upper is considered the rifle. So you could mill an 80% receiver and slap it on the bottom, and it's basically a stock. That's how the ATF is looking at it, and that's how I read it.
Yeah, no, and I understand what you're saying. The problem with that, though, is that on like a Remington 700 receiver, let's take that as an example, there's a fire control group that attaches to it. In this case, the fire control group attaches to a completely different part of the gun. Right. So I don't see how they can go ahead and classify that when there is no fire control group. And granted, I understand there are certain rifles that the upper is considered the firearm. So the FNFAL is one of those. The lower, even though it contains the fire control group, is not considered the firearm. The upper is. And there are others like that. But I've never seen a firearm that now has 2 registered components that make a firearm in and of themselves, each individual one. But you need both of them in order to have a firearm. It just doesn't make any sense.
I think that as I was reading it, is somebody was trying to import them in the United States, so that may be the way that they're trying to. And I may be looking at this different, as that's maybe importation laws or something. What do I think about it? It's BS. I think that anything that they're trying to do with it is BS. But I think that's maybe their way of trying to get through these importation things,
Yeah,
or
the safety harbor uppers
stuff,
Yeah, the safety harbor uppers have been around for a long time. the range I used to shoot at in California, there was a guy who had a similar upper that was 50 cal, and he was firing it there. He had his lower registered. It was a single shot lower, so the mag well was filled. There was nothing you could do there, so it was just a single shot. He just had it solely for the purpose of attaching to this AR upper. Now that upper he did register with California DOJ as an assault weapon back in the original assault weapons ban. Now I wonder how this would affect him. Is he going to have to re-register all of that now? Actually, it was the lower that he registered because it was attaching to the upper. So now he would have to register the upper, and California not accepting registrations. I wonder how this is all going to work.
Oh, he will. He'll have to re-register it along with his firstborn child and the blood of a virgin and a password that has 7 characters.
If the website works,
yeah.
then you have to,
I mean, no doubt they are going to make it as complicated as possible.
Right, and it's California, so there's only one virgin left, and she's my daughter, and no, he can't have her blood.
And he'll have to have the juice of an ascension tree lily, along with all the rest of those things.
So is this are the ones that are already in the United States and that people already legally own? Are they going to have to be serialized?
Apparently, those are included in this. They are considering them firearms, so they are going to have to go ahead and. Well, I guess going forward, if at any future sales, but if you're in a state that requires registration, it would probably require them to be registered again.
Gay.
Yeah. But what if you don't have to register them? Like you don't register anything like that in the state of Tennessee.
In Tennessee, you can legally make your own firearm from
8% lower or whatever.
Pabst Blue Ribbon can, if that's what. And you don't have to register them. So I build 80% receivers here in our shop all the time. I mill them and everything. So me and Josh, I mean, he makes his own. I don't make his. ATF.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a bunch of unserialized firearms that we lost in a boating accident.
They're all at the bottom of the lake. Right?
Come find them.
Yeah. I just have a high point.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's why the seawaters are rising. It's not because of global warming. It's because of all these boating accidents that are dumping guns into the oceans and waterways. Yeah. No, I just wonder because California, you can't purchase a 50 cal. 50 cals have been banned in California. So anything 50 cal is out. So if you now have to register this gun, even though you already owned it, but now it's a firearm. So if California's going to make you registered, I wonder how that's going to work out.
You live in California?
I did. I lived there for over 3 decades, and I managed to escape a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, man.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, I managed a gun store there, and I worked at another gun store, and been just around the firearms industry, movie guns, all kinds of stuff. I was a cop out there, so that's why I know so much about it. But it's kind of a frightening situation. I think a lot of people are going to get hurt by this.
Everybody that doesn't like firearms to move to places that they don't like firearms, then we'd be okay.
Yeah.
And everybody that likes them to move south, because that's where.
Yep.
Indeed. All right. So next story looks like in Detroit there was a dispute at a gas station, and a man ends up shooting a transgender woman after they argued over sexual orientation. I guess the transgender woman told the guy that she was transgender, and it led to an argument between them. He ended up shooting her, which, I mean, I may not agree with a person's lifestyle, but I'm not going to shoot him over it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This
thing both black too.
I'm not sure about the victim.
I saw
in the video. I think they were both black.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
You know what? I looked at the story. I did not see the video.
Which is even more interesting that a black person who undoubtedly claims to be racially discriminated against in this country, who may kneel for the flag, whatever. Okay, whatever your preference is, it's a free country. A person who does that would confront a transgender person in a gas station to the point of escalation that they would shoot them. That's incredible to me. It's incredible to me. I don't care.
When I tried to get the video to play, it actually wouldn't play for me. I couldn't see anything.
I am pretty sure that they are both black. Let me get back to this.
Was she pre-op or post-op?
Yeah.
Yes, the shooter was black. His name is James Craig. The victim also appears to be African American.
Yeah. No, James Craig is actually the police chief. Deonton A. Rogers is the shooter.
Yes, Deonton. You're right about that. And she's bigger than him, like by a large margin in height.
Maybe he found out she was transgender by way of not knowing until it was too late, and he was really pissed at her, and he went shopping.
According to the article, he approached her and made a crude remark inside the gas station, which probably wasn't anything of a transgender nature, because after that, she informed him that she was transgender.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what the article said. And then they got into an argument about sexual orientation. My point is this. Look, if you're a person of color or just any person, and you feel like you've been a victim of sexism, racism, you know, if you feel like you've been discriminated against because you're transgender, gay, whatever, like, it blows my mind that you would come at someone else's lifestyle in such a way that you feel like you need to accost them in a public place, which leads to a shooting.
I know what you're saying, and I get it, but being black isn't a lifestyle.
But I understand, but that person has probably encountered someone in their life that has judged them because of the color of their skin.
True. And you're saying, why would they judge somebody else? Yeah.
Why would you then judge somebody else for anything, really?
Like I said, guy could just had a bad day, or he might have found out she was transgender from other way.
May have been a date.
That's what
we don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
could have been catfished.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get a date, and she told him that
there was a stem on.
She wasn't his type.
I mean, we can't speculate in theories here on this stuff, but I mean, I think that's just sad. I mean, I think that's just sad. I never even had an issue over the transgender bathroom stuff. I mean, other than you know, bringing it down into high school where it affects kids. You know, I mean, I don't care if a transgender person is in the stall next to me. I'm armed. If you come in my stall, I'm gonna shoot your ass.
Well, the thing is,
if you pee in your place and I pee in mine, I don't care.
The thing about that is that they've been doing it for years. I mean,
they've been doing it before it was ever even an issue.
Yeah, and so people are making a big deal about it now, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. The issue I have about that is that my kids would go in there, and my kids are grown now, so that's not an issue anymore. And I know that my daughters, if someone tried something like that, they would put a hurting on them.
Unless you literally have a guy walking there that literally looks like me, and it's just like, "Hey, I'm a woman. I'm gonna use the bathroom," and they go in there, and they're just obviously trying to look at girls or whatever. Then that's the problem.
But is it any different?
I think that's what everybody is like afraid of. I think that would happen.
Is it any different than some weird dude taking advantage of a parent not paying attention? Because that's essentially what it is. If you're a parent,
that's true.
I mean, if I'm a parent, I'm taking my kids to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Until they're old enough to go to the bathroom by themselves. But even at Walmart, my 10-year-old isn't going to the bathroom by themselves. Okay? Yeah. I'm going with my kids, right? And then if your kids are old enough to go to the bathrooms by themselves, then if your kids are old enough to go to the bathroom by themselves, then they should be old enough to deal with their own safety to a certain extent, and parents should be teaching their kids that.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you have a 15 or 16-year-old daughter who goes in there and there's a transgender female in there who is quite a bit larger and decides that he wants to be a male today and take advantage of her.
Well, then I understand where you're coming from. I'm just saying that then we need to be teaching our kids to defend themselves, and we need to be arming them with the proper tools that they can have to defend themselves. You know, I have
spray, mace, those ball things, monkey fist,
or the little Kimber pepper spray guns.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to carry that stuff. You know, my 19-year-old niece has one. My 19-year-old stepdaughter has one. And I am confident in their ability to defend themselves. Do I think that they're going to win in every single situation? No, but I have to give them their best chance. And if I can't watch over them, I have to give them the knowledge for them to do that. Okay. Do I agree? Do I enjoy the thought of a transgender person going into the same bathroom as my daughter or my niece? No. But what I'm not going to do is put a blanket statement over all transgender people for the faults of few, just like I don't want a blanket bad karma or a bad rap over all 2A people for the actions of few. I don't want that.
Well, that's what I'm saying too. I think it'd be few and far between of somebody going in there literally looking like me.
I really believe that. I really believe that. I really believe that it's not a true intention for most people.
A lot of people have been doing it for way longer than people started making a big deal about it. So
yes, give your kids knives so if they want to go ahead and have that surgery, the kids can do it and save them a lot of money.
Exactly.
That's a good idea.
That is a good idea.
All right. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about some Georgia officers who used a coin toss app to go ahead and decide whether to arrest a woman. And turns out that they've lost their jobs over it, which, I mean, we talked about it then. We said, obviously they acted stupidly. It was something that was a bit childish. They were having fun. They chose to do something stupid. Reprimand them, put something in their file that they've been reprimanded, maybe give them a little bit of time off, but move on. But no, apparently they chose to go ahead and fire them. Jared, what do you think about that?
What was the charge?
Stupid in public with a uniform on.
No, I mean, what was the charge for the person that they were going to arrest?
Oh, speeding.
Okay. There's your answer right there. Okay. I know a cop in the DFW area who will remain nameless that pulled over 2 young girls who were clearly under the influence of alcohol. And he knows what a DWI would cost their life. Okay. And instead of arresting them, or in lieu of arresting them, he gave them the choice. He said, you either call your parents to come and get you, or I'm going to take you to jail. Okay. So you're either going to take the wrath of your parents or you're going to go to jail. Okay. Now, the department would have said he should have arrested them because they broke the law. He had mercy. Okay. And decided to teach them a lesson. I feel like this was nothing more than the police two police officers trying to de-escalate or bring in a different view of the police and said, hey, we're going to flip a coin. You don't need to be speeding. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's a small infraction. Okay. Compared to what it could have been. And we're just this is how we're going to decide whether or not we're going to, arrest you or give you a ticket or whatever.
Can you be arrested for speeding?
You can if it's over. Well, in Texas, you can if it's over a certain speed, right? If it's so many miles above the limit, it's considered reckless endangerment. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel like this. I don't feel like this was a fireable offense. I feel like this was a reprimandable offense, but I don't feel like it was a fireable offense.
I think they went up there. I look at it 2 ways. I think that they possibly could have went up there knowing that hey, let's just give these people a break. Let's kind of scare them a little bit, but let's give them a break. And they walked up there and was like, okay, it's obviously going to be tails, so we're not going to arrest him or whatever. And they're just like, oh, okay, well, we're going to flip a coin for it. Better be, And they flip the coin and they're just like, oh, it's tails. You're getting off lucky this time. Like, I feel like that's the way they went about it. I mean,
because the cops have a choice anyway.
Yeah.
They have a choice anyway. They don't have to arrest you if you're speeding. They can. If it's over, I mean, I don't know what state this was in, but in Texas, they can if they want to. If you have the option anyway, who gives a shit if you flip a coin? I mean, this is just being nitpicky.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, they could have let them off with a warning,
and it would have been the same thing.
Which means they have a choice. So, I mean, they were just trying to lighten the damn mood. I mean, what a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, typically, unless it's a serious felony, you have discretion. You don't have to go ahead and arrest someone. Depends. It varies from state to state, too. Certain states have certain requirements that you have to do certain things, but most of them do give the officers discretion, especially on lesser crimes. And it just sounds like these officers were bored. They were having some fun, and their body cams caught it. And next thing you know, it became a fiasco.
I would like to hear the audio from that body cam.
Yeah, something tells me because of their circumstances, the department won't release it because it's going to reflect on them, and they're not going to go ahead and do it. If it's something where it's a public policy issue where there's protests and stuff, and they're going to show, hey, look, our officers responded accordingly to a threat, then they'll go ahead and release it. But if it's something else that may just make them look bad all the way around, I don't think they will do it.
Well,
so, all right. So that's going to wrap up our less than positive news section. I'm going to move on to the I'm offended section. But before we do that, just like to remind you, if you would like to support the show, please go to firearmsradio.tv/pledge. You can go ahead and become a Patreon there. Just help us to cover some expenses and just show that you enjoy the show and are willing to go ahead and be someone who will put some money behind that and back it up. So we thank you for that. And moving on, looks like we have some Democratic candidates who are pushing their gun control agenda, even though they know that it can hurt them at the polls. It seems like they're doubling down on gun control given the fact that there have been a lot of recent incidents that highlight it. And it didn't work the last time around, but I guess they think they have a better chance this time around. I'll go to the Joshes first. What do you guys think?
I mean, didn't they already do this? Haven't they been doing this? I just, I mean,
it obviously didn't work out in their favor. Why try it again? I mean, it's like saying, hey, punch him in the face. Next time you punch him in the face, it's going to turn out better.
Yeah.
You know?
Because they think they can win this time because Trump is such a boob.
Mm.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on this, but Jared, what are your thoughts on it besides just Trump being a boob?
I mean, that's my first thought. My second thought is, I mean,
wait. So you don't like Trump?
I like some things that he's doing because I'm logical and I can compartmentalize whether someone's an asshole versus, I mean, look, Trump's been talking about how much he loves America since the freaking 80s. Okay. Yeah. He said it on Oprah's show. He's been touting it. I don't think he's a racist. I think that, now I think that he's a little bit of a hound dog. I think he's a lot of a hound dog. Okay. He's a man, and I can tell you right now that if I was in a room with him and he pulled that shit on me, I wouldn't be having it because I think he's disgusting. Okay. But you can be an asshole horn dog and still love America. Okay. This is part of logic and compartmentalizing. Okay. And I think he loves America, and I think that he loves the blue collar worker. And I think that he puts women in power positions because he recognizes true talent. I mean, I think that he's got flaws just like anybody else, but I think that the Democrats are taking advantage of how the mainstream media is portraying him. And they think that they're going to win this time. And they're not. They're just not going to win this argument. Okay? It's a non-issue. The Constitution is not to be argued with. Our rights are sovereign. And the quickest way to start another revolution is to really start biting in on these threats for unnecessary gun control.
I just don't understand how people. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't understand how people are just so willing to throw away their rights. I don't understand that at all, and it boggles my mind.
Yeah, without Second Amendment, you have no First Amendment.
Because they truly believe. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of liberals over the last few years. They truly believe that their government will protect them. They truly believe that the police force will protect them. They truly believe that they are not in any danger. And until it hits them and until they experience it, they won't understand. Yeah. And the way that I fight it and the way that I try to get people to kind of maybe come over to the other side a little bit is just putting on these gun classes and inviting them and bringing them in and saying, just try it one time. Okay. Your mom said that you have to eat broccoli one time. Okay. You got to try it to figure out if you like it. You have to try it to figure out if you like it. And a lot of hearts and minds are changed by people that go on these police ride-alongs and stuff. If they're willing to cry out against it, they need to be willing to try it one time to understand it. You fear what you don't understand. And if you want to live in fear for your whole life, then you can do that. But I'm not going to do that.
I think there has to be a time when you decide if you're going to be a victim or not.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. You have to decide whether you're going to be a victim or you're going to step up and kick somebody in the balls.
And you don't have to agree, and I think that a huge misconception and a thing that people that so many people in this nation fall for is they think, oh, well, if I like guns, then people are automatically going to consider me a conservative or a Republican. And that's not the way that it needs to be. And I hate this two-party system.
Yeah, it's because everybody always jumps to one side, right, and they stick with it because that's
I have never taught so many gay people to shoot in my life until after Orlando happened.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm serious. And they came to me in droves, and they were like, okay, maybe this whole gun thing isn't so bad. And it's not. Your right to self-defense transcends your gender, your sex. It transcends your sexual orientation. It transcends everything, because you have a right to live no matter what.
Including political affiliation.
Including a political affiliation. The Second Amendment is for everyone. So Democrats need to quit fighting it. They just need to quit fighting it. They need to quit running on that platform. As a matter of fact, they just need to abandon all social platforms because it's not working, okay? There's no reason why. I mean, we're just putting ourselves on the crappy side of history by trying to fight the gay and lesbian population, by trying to,
I think they try to pin that against us, though.
We just need to move on from that, okay? We just need to move on from that. We need to decide that the Second Amendment is freaking sovereign, and we need to start moving on to these economical issues, these trade agreements, these other things that are important to our country, and we just need to start loving each other. That's it. That is going to solve the entire problem.
They try to pin, the LGBT community and stuff like that against people on the right or whatever you want to call it, Republicans, conservatives, whatever. They try to pin that against us to make us fight to make us fight each other so that they can have them on their side, on the left, or whatever you want to call it. But really, the government doesn't give you the right to self-defense.
Nope.
Period, in my opinion.
They don't, and that's true. And I think that if we wanted to, and I hate additional laws, but I said this on one of the last shows, is if we're going to make laws, around guns, then let's make laws that make people train. Let's make laws that require people to train, and let's do that, because it's going to be productive and it's going to change hearts and minds. And that's what we need to do, is we need to remember that there are much larger threats to us outside of our nation than there are inside of our nation. And we need to be able to defend ourselves for that. Okay. And there are people in the world that are just inherently evil. We live in a sinful world. Okay. And we need to be able to defend ourselves for that. We have a right to that. We have a right for our life. We have a right for liberty and pursuit of happiness. The government doesn't need to guarantee you happiness. You have to pursue it on your own. And how we have lost track of that is absolutely beyond me. Well, it's actually not beyond me. It's because accountability is gone. It's because people aren't accountable for their actions.
100% agree.
And if you're not accountable for your actions, then everything is just lost. And so when we stop holding our children accountable, listen, I'm getting off track here, but I don't care. I'm going to take 2 minutes on this. My significant other's cousin has like a 19-step bed routine for her kids. Okay. Seriously, you got to have the right blanket. You got to have the right music. You got to say the right prayer. You got to sing the right song. When I was growing up, your mom said, go to bed, and you just went to bed. Okay. And you might get up a couple of times to get water or whatever, and you might try to play your parents, but eventually you got your ass whipped because you didn't go to bed. This is the problem.
Oh, you can't do that now. I don't believe in that now. You got to read.
We're allowing too much bullshit. We're allowing so much disrespect for authority. And that's why the police are in the position that they're in. That's why first responders are in the position they're in. That's why the military is in the position that they're in. And that's why politicians get to do all the crap that they get to do, is because they're part of the issue that's inciting this. So the reality is simple. If we just got back to a situation where people were held accountable for their actions instead of being let off for stupid stuff, we wouldn't have this problem in this nation right now. I'm done with it.
Yeah,
I'm tired of it.
I can 100% agree, but let me bring it back to the story. So I think what's happening here, what the left is looking at, is the fact that what put Obama in office, it was the young voters. what has been happening since Parkland. They've been having voter drives, getting young voters in there. So I think they're trying to capitalize on these young voters who are going ahead and
because they're stupid.
Well, yeah. Well, they don't understand what taking liberty away will do to them in the long run.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they know that this is a hot button issue for them. So if they can go ahead and focus on their one issue that is going to polarize them against the conservatives and get them to vote on that Democratic ticket, this is what they're pinning their hopes on, that they can go ahead and get these young voters out there to cast those votes and hopefully put a Democrat in the White House, just like they did with Obama.
Yep.
Well, they're smart for doing that. They're smart for capitalizing on the young voter.
Yeah, because I mean, a friend of mine, me and a friend actually said something about that the other day. You mentioned liberty. What is liberty to somebody that's never had it? You know, it's just a word. You know.
Yeah.
What are they giving up?
What is liberty to someone who's had everything?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything handed to them every single time.
Technology is prevalent. Opportunities are prevalent.
Kids in high school, 18, 19 years old, and then they make them, and then they have to go to college. They have to get in debt and go to college, and then they have to stay in college till they're 25 years old. So they've been sheltered this entire time until they're 25 years old. They have no idea what's going on in the world at all. Then they go and get some liberal arts degree where they're not going to get any money or anything doing what has anything to do with that. And
but then they come out of it, they want to be paid $70,000 a year just because they went to college.
They're just sheltered. They're sheltered all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, but how do we reach them?
Capitalizing on the young voter is necessary. We, conservatives, libertarians, whatever, Second Amendment people, whatever you want to call us, we need to be doing that. And I think that one of the ways that I feel like I'm helping with that, and you can tell me how you feel like you're helping with it, but is, I'm going around and I'm building gun ranges, that educational facilities where people can come in and learn about their rights and experience it and put it in and make it tangible for them. That's the thing, is taking liberty and making it tangible.
Yep.
Okay. So looking at different projects that are out there, let's look at like Tony Simon, and the second is For Everyone and his diversity shoot, where he's trying to reach out to the broadest group possible. What if we did something along those lines and focused on parents and their children? Let's do a dad and daughter or a mom and son shooting event where we can go ahead and bring them in and go, look, we understand that you're fearful. Let's teach you why these things are instruments of liberty, first of all, but also they're ways that you can use them to protect yourselves. And maybe we can reach some of these people and twist what the left is trying to do with them and show them that it's all about the person that's behind it. It's not the instrument that's in their hand.
I don't know if y'all got these out there or not, but here they have high school shooting teams. They didn't have that in when I was growing up in South Carolina. They didn't have that in South Carolina, but here they have high school shooting teams all over the place.
We have those a little bit through Texas, yeah.
Yeah, and we've done bug matches and stuff like that, and there have been 8-year-old kids coming up there doing the still challenges with us and stuff like that, probably doing better than what we are. So these people are teaching their kids at a young age that to respect the 2A and basically come up with 2A people. And
we've done events like that at Defender Outdoors. We've had daddy-daughter shoots and father-son shoots and mom-daughter shoots. We've done a lot of that, and it does help. It does help. I would go so far, and and I know that I'll probably get a lot of backlash for this, but I'd go so far as to say that we need to work that into the educational system somehow, because you fear what you don't understand.
Well, they used to do archery.
Part of the culture. You don't fear it. It used to be a part of the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really did. It used to be a way bigger part of the culture than it is now. And I feel like we're losing it with the young people. And we need
Smith said that he used to have a range in the bottom of his high school, and they used to go down there and shoot at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, that was across the nation back in the 50s, and then it started changing from then on.
And then we turned around and started, raising a bunch of panty waists who can't handle it.
I agree. But now firearms have become part of the counterculture, and we need to figure out a way that we can bring them back to being a part of the culture, not something that is outside of the norm, but something that everyone understands. Hey, look, this is just who we are. We're Americans, and this is our right. We're not going to give that up. So how do we go ahead and get these people to embrace it and not fear it? These are the things we need to figure out. We can go ahead and call them names and say all kinds of things about them, granted, their ideas don't mesh with ours. We disagree with them vehemently. But how can we find a common ground that we can get them to at least take a moment and look at it objectively and try it out and see if it's all that they thought it would be?
By calling out all of the rabid gun people that call names and grab at people who don't understand, attack them on social media instead of having a legitimate adult conversation. That's the problem. And it goes both ways. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But I see so many 2A people eating their own. Yeah. And then moreover, I see so many 2A people that absolutely just attack people who don't know about guns, who don't understand guns, instead of having a servant's heart and wanting to teach them.
Yeah. Well, people say that people on the left that think that way, they're stupid. Most of the times they're not stupid. They're ignorant. They don't know any better. All they know is what they've been told. So let's go ahead and figure out a way to enlighten them and bring them into the fold. Show them what the firearms community is. I have never met nicer people in the firearms community. Yeah. People go ahead and hand you a $4,000 gun at a match because you don't have what will help you and be like, oh, yeah, just catch up with me later or give it back to me.
Yep.
They don't get your license. They don't know who you are. They just expect that you're going to do the right thing and bring it back.
We did a video like a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, or something like that. These people were driving from. They were touring the United States. Basically, they came from the Netherlands, and they were coming over here. Well, actually, they did a couple of different places. They did Belize and a couple other countries and stuff like that. Then they went up to Vancouver, and they came all the way down the West Coast, went all the way down through the southeastern, Texas and all that stuff, come up to the south, and then they were going back up side the east side, and they stopped in Tennessee. And they had never shot a firearm before, and they were just like, hey, you know what? We want to go try this out. So they got down there, and I thought it was so cool. We let them shoot everything that we had. They shot everything at the range, because you can actually go to the range that we go to, which is Winter Rock Shooting Range, and they went out there, and they got all of their full auto and stuff like that. They got to shoot everything. They shot all that stuff. They shot 50 cal BMG. I mean, they did everything. And we filmed a lot of it, and we put it up on our YouTube channel and stuff like that. But it was actually really cool, the fact that we got to let these people that had never shot anything before do anything they wanted to. And we were
and it completely changed their minds.
Yeah, they were just like, this is awesome. People down here are super nice. Like,
and there are a lot of foreign people who want to shoot, but they can't in their country because of the oppressive gun laws. And that's just what they're used to. Yeah. They've never tasted liberty like that. And then they come here to visit, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're going to let us shoot this? And I'll ask them, I'm like, so why were you so, were you so opposed to guns? Why were you so opposed to guns? And they're like, we're really not. It's our government that is.
Yeah.
Right? And why do you think that is?
We asked them if they had ever shot anything like that before, and they said, no, we're not even allowed to have guns in the Netherlands.
That's just crazy to me.
Yeah. So, and they were like, but we love it. Y'all are great. They told us, it's all on camera. We didn't plan any of it. We just showed up at the range one day, and they were already there in their little RV or whatever. Yeah. And they showed up right around the same time, and we're just like, what are y'all doing? And they told us, and they came out and they shot everything we had, man. It was great. Yeah. It was a good time.
All right. Well, awesome stuff. Hopefully we could find ways to go ahead and make this happen more and more. But I do want to move on. Looks like obviously there's a lot of hubbub right now about 3D printed guns. Defense distributors, they just basically won the settlement with State Department saying that they could distribute them, and now there's all sorts of lawsuits going forward. Pennsylvania says that they can't distribute to their residents, so they have an agreement with them. They're suing New Jersey and Los Angeles because of restrictions that are going on. President Trump says that he's talked to the NRA and doesn't, basically the White House is saying that 3D printed guns are illegal. You can't have a gun that's all plastic. And a story I just came across here while we were discussing other stories was TSA. I think this is a bit timely and opportunistic, but basically saying that TSA has found 3D printed guns at airports. Obviously a hot button issue, but it's a First Amendment issue. They're trying to turn it into a terrorist issue, but it has nothing to do with that. It's all about freedom of speech. So I'm going to go to the Josh's first. What do you guys have to say about it?
Kind of like what I was saying earlier about, I build my own firearms. I build 80% receivers. If you have the ability to build a firearm, whether it be printed, milled, anything, whether it's made out of wood, It's your right. It's your Second Amendment right to make your own firearm. How you register it, or if you register it, is on you.
Yeah.
In Tennessee, we can build 80% firearms. We can build our own firearms, and we do not have to register them.
No registration.
They're ours. They're ours to keep for the rest of our lives. We cannot transfer them, but to me, that's an infringement upon our Second Amendment right, saying that we cannot make something, whether it be, like I said, printed or however. I think it's BS. I really do.
I think that I see the point of, hey, they can take it through metal detectors and stuff like that. Like, I see that. But if that is out there, I also want to be able to take it through metal detectors, because why would I trust anybody with my safety other than myself? I don't want to, somebody pat me down or whatever, me go through a metal detector and be like, oh, well, you can't bring yours in here, but there's some jackwhacking over here that had made one at his house. He can take it through.
I mean, what are they shooting?
You have one guy on a plane with a 3D plastic gun that intends to do harm, but you have 40 other people that have their own firearms. I mean, come on. I mean, this is just illogical. I mean, I don't know about the whole code as a freedom of speech thing, whatever. I can't speak intelligently to that. But what I can speak intelligently to is, that the Second Amendment is without question and unarguable. So I guess I need to see one. I need to shoot one. I need to experience this to understand it better.
Right. Could be.
Well, here's how
I mean, because how is this any different than what you do? How is this any different than the first person that ever made a gun ever?
Right. True.
How is this any different?
Yeah, I agree.
It's just a different way.
Yep.
Are they 3D printing ammo?
No,
because go through TSA with a 45 ACP, and you're going to be on a watch list for the rest of your life.
Yeah, you'll be walking out of there, bow-legged, basically.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. I mean, yeah, you may be able to get through there with a firearm. What are you going to do with a firearm with no ammo?
Dude, my dad was on a cruise ship once, and he left a 9mm. I think it wasn't even a bullet; it was a casing in his bag that he had for face stuff and toiletry. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, he left it in there, and he was on a cruise ship, man, and they reamed his ass over a casing that he left in one of his toiletry bags.
Ammunition is considered a firearm according to ATF regulations. So if you go on a plane or a cruise ship or anything like that with any components of ammunition, it is a firearm that you're bringing on. So the same thing holds true for a plane. So if you try to take that into an airport, you can pay the same penalty that you would pay for bringing a firearm through, which will cost you thousands of dollars to go through there. People have done it by accident, and when they get the bill, it is astronomical.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and that's what I'm saying is, I mean, how are you going to get, you're going to get this 3D printed firearm onto a plane, and what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Because obviously, that, I mean, what are you, keystring ammo?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
even
then they're going to,
they have the x-ray machines you have to walk through.
They're going to be like, sir, step to the side.
What do you got in your ass?
That's a whole other show.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, some of those alternate groups we were talking about earlier. It's just, I don't know. It's fear-mongering is all it is. People are, because of recent incidents, they're saying, we need to be afraid of this. This is something we need to fear. When bottom line is, if you arm the people, the bad people are not going to be able to accomplish what they want to accomplish. They will be stopped. Why does our government fear good people being able to stop bad people unless they themselves are bad people?
They don't fear that. They fear the power that we have over the government, which is the whole point of the Constitution is we're supposed to have power over the government.
Yep.
That's what they don't want. And they want, because they get comfortable because there's no term limits. Okay. They get comfortable in their positions. They get comfortable in their pensions and making money and get to make all these rules and, and have all this elitism, and they want to keep that. Listen, that's one thing I like about Trump. He called for term limits. Okay. Yeah. They already exist for the president, but he called for term limits for Congress. And I want term limits for Congress. I want a whole new batch of people that are just fighting for my liberty every 4 to 8 years. That's what I want. And I want them, and I don't want that to be their job. I want that to be a chapter of their life. I don't think that they should get a pension for that. I don't think that they should get a lifetime of free health care for that. I think that they need to have another avenue to go down for a career when they get done serving their country, because that's what they should be doing.
I want a reset of Congress. I want a reset of Congress. Oh, go ahead.
Nothing.
No, nothing. Shame on me.
It would solve a multitude of problems if Congress had term limits. That's what they need.
Oh, yeah, completely. Yeah.
Nobody needs to be a career politician. Nobody. Not mayors, not state representatives, not Congress people, not presidents. Nobody needs to be a career politician, because if you know that this is a finite opportunity in your life, you're actually going to get shit done.
Agree.
Yeah.
1000%. All right. So that's going to wrap up our I'm Offended section. Moving into the full auto news section. But first, I'd like to thank Patriot Patch Co. Just if you have any needs for patches, t-shirts, cleaning mats, stickers, whatever it is, go to Patriot Patch Co. They have a ton of awesome stuff. Become a member of their Patch of the Month Club. I just recently had to get a new patch board because I ran out of room on the first one that I had. So now time to start making a new one and filling that one up. And Patch of the Month Club is a great way to do it. I know that, Jared, I know you're a member. The Joshes, have you gotten into patches at all?
Yeah, a little. Yeah, not as much as other people, but yeah. I have a board over there started.
Awesome. I've got a few. Most of mine stem from military patches and stuff like that. I've got some from overseas and stuff like that. So a lot of them were actually different countries that I've actually worked with.
Very cool. Well, definitely check out Patch of the Month Club. I think they'll have some stuff that you'll enjoy. It's always a little bit of fun. There's a sticker that comes with it, and a lot of them they've started including some of the original drawings. A copy of it, but just you kind of see what the thought process was and where they were going with it.
I follow them on Instagram, man. A lot of their patches are hilarious. I like them a lot.
The Colonial Pocket Dump.
I love that one. Oh gosh, I love that one.
See, I was hoping you were going to say. I was actually going to ask you if you had a favorite recently, and I guess you just gave it away.
I did.
Nice. All right. So I know that the Joshes did pick stories. I don't know, Jerry, you got a chance to read them, but take a look at them while I go ahead and.
Yeah, can I go first? Because can I go first? Because I have to be somewhere at 9 o'clock.
Okay. We can
sorry about that. So my story is, get ready for this. Man shoots himself in the head while playfully showing off gun to women at Motel 6.
Sounds about right.
Okay, so Houston, Texas, Motel 6, entertaining women. Yeah. I'm going to let you connect the dots. So basically, this dude with probably, way too much money and not enough sense was, trying to impress some prostitutes and shot himself in the head. Now, the article doesn't say they're prostitutes. I'm just going to throw that out there, but I'm saying they're probably prostitutes. I'm just going to And not really sure how one would shoot himself in the head unless he was like doing the thing that the FBI agent was doing, like trying to do a backflip in the room, or perhaps a little Russian roulette. I don't know, but
was it a revolver?
Huh?
Was it a revolver?
Wasn't a revolver, so we can't throw that in the mix.
You could be really dumb and play Russian roulette with a pistol.
Well, I feel like if you shoot yourself in the head, showing somebody a firearm, I'm just going to go ahead and say thinning out the herd.
Yeah, natural selection.
We're just getting to the point of things. But in reality, this was a human life that was taken. He probably had people that loved him, and that's very sad. But he was also, very, very stupid, and you play stupid games and you win stupid prizes when you're hanging out at the Motel 6 with the working girls.
Good deal. Well, Josh H., I know that was your story, so if you could just go ahead and look at it while Josh C. discusses his, see if you can find another one. Josh, which one did you pick?
Oh, there's your story. it had JH by it. I thought that was my story.
That's okay. We got the same initials.
That makes sense. Okay.
Sorry.
So a Colorado man thought his wife was an intruder, so he shot her. This is like the biggest proponent for weapon-mounted lights on your home defense. I don't carry a weapon-mounted light on my EDC every day. I carry a flashlight in my pocket, but I do think at home you should have some sort of weapon-mounted light. You don't know if you're going to have to use your hands to do anything, cover somebody, reload, whatever. Of course, you would have to do those things in EDC too. But I'm saying in your house, it's probably going to be nighttime if somebody's coming in your house. So why not be able to see the things that you're shooting at? And if he would have had some sort of light, he would have been able to see what he was shooting at. And it sucks that it happened that way, but it is what it is,
So you're saying with a light, you could have got a positive identification of who he was,
Exactly.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, we talked about this time and time again on this show and several other shows on the network where, you can't shoot at shadows. You have to know what it is, know that it's a threat, first of all, before you even shoot. And obviously, tragedy, but man, just I can only imagine what the family reunions are going to be like after this.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. All right, Josh, did you find another story?
Yeah, I saw that it says Portland man shoots self in front of OSP officer after traffic stop in Dallas.
All these things come from Texas. What's going on down there?
And I was reading that, I was reading that basically he got pulled over. He exited the car. He walked to the back of the car. The officer told him to put his firearm down. So as soon as he got to the back of the car, he actually shot himself. And that's about as far as it goes. I mean, what it doesn't say is why did he shoot himself? What was going on?
I mean, I'd take that as suicide by cop, or maybe just just done with it, whatever. I don't know. I mean,
maybe he had a bad day. Maybe his girlfriend broke up with him on Snapchat or something. I don't know.
That just made it worse.
You never know.
Yeah.
He may have been going to try to resolve something.
Hey, at least that cop gave that guy a chance, unlike the guy in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, apparently this guy was like throwing stuff out of the car. That's why they ended up stopping him in the first place. He was just being really erratic and just out of the ordinary. It was just weird how the whole thing went down. Yeah, it was crazy. He just shot himself in the chest, and obviously he just didn't want to be here anymore.
Stuff in the chest. Why would you not just go for the?
Oh, well.
Maybe he was too good looking. Didn't want to ruin that for the funeral.
Yeah.
He wanted an open casket. That's all it was.
Yeah. No doubt. Well, I know we talked about it here a little bit earlier, and it's been talked about before, but I think it was hilarious is when a guy on the beach who got a woman's attention by doing a backflip.
Yeah.
It's just fun. He walks past her, does a backflip, and ends up landing in a reclined position, resting on his elbow with his fist up against his temple. And it's like, "Hi, how you doing? Come here often?"
I didn't even see that one.
Oh, it is. You've got to watch the video.
I feel really bad that I stole your story.
I didn't see that one either.
Cool. That's fine. I backed up and punted.
Yeah,
so.
It's all right.
No, it's okay. Now we know that we can't use initials anymore. We got to spell out names because Jared just thinks everything
I
is
you just
H.
fixed it for me, man.
The thing was, even if you use like J Hutch, it would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, close. Yeah.
Like my brother from another mother.
Yeah.
I'm excited to know you.
Well, thank you.
All right. Good deal. So that's going to wrap things up.
Podcast.
I just want to thank you guys. Obviously, good stuff tonight. Can't thank you guys enough for joining us. Jared, I know you got to get out of here soon. So tell us, where can people find out more about you?
You can find me on Instagram at Clearing the Chamber, Facebook at Clearing the Chamber. I also have a public figure page, Jara Hutchins. You can find me there. We're going to have some really good blog entries coming out on some of these new current events. And then I'm launching a new blog for women. So I'll talk about that on the next show. But it's going to center a lot around women in firearms. And also, I want to send people to this website. Go to alexoathletica.com and use promo code Alexo10 to get 10% off your order. It's a brand new line of concealed carry activewear for women. So if you have a wife, girlfriend, sister, mom, whatever, that is interested in carrying, but they wear that kind of stuff, man, get over there. It's the best thing on the market right now.
Okay, and then real quick, can you tell us why you're in a bathtub today?
Okay, so I've been doing these boot camp workouts because I'm going into the military at the end of the year, and they're wearing my 36-year-old ass out. And so I'm in a bathtub of Epsom salt right now, and then I'm about to throw some ice in here. Well, I'm taking another one when I get home because I got to be somewhere at 9, and then I'm going to throw a bunch of ice in here and take an ice bath because I'm old as shit, and I'm trying to do young people stuff.
I got a decade and a half on you.
So that's what's happening.
All right. Good deal. Josh and Josh, where can people find out more about you guys?
Guys, we're on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. It's called Black Diamond Guns and Gear. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. We do a live stream every Saturday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Facebook. So if you want to, check us out on Black Diamond Guns and Gear on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and also Black Diamond Holsters. We do Black Diamond Holsters on Facebook as well. We don't have any websites. We do everything off of Facebook.
Yes.
Because we're gangster like that. Anyway, so check us out on YouTube and subscribe, like, and follow and all that stuff. And we'll see you when we see you.
All right. Awesome stuff. Well, I need to talk to you guys about a holster. But anyway, that being said, This Week in Guns is a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You know that I'm normally the producer, host this week because Sean had an emergency, couldn't make it. Last minute thing, kind of jumped in and apologize for any audio issues that you may encounter. I'm still trying to figure out all this new gear, but just thank you for your support. Don't forget to visit our sponsors, visit our pledge page, use our Amazon affiliate link, and we will see you next week. Thank you much.
Can we talk in outside? Here.